Here's a quick study tip. Try writing out the 4 phases of NIST incident response on a sheet of paper, then jot down what happens in each phase and who's involved. It's a simple exercise, but it'll help solidify the workflow in your mind. Hi there. I'm Kyle Winters, Technical Advocate at Cisco, and welcome back to the CCNA Cybersecurity video series. If you've made it this far, congratulations. We are now in Domain 5, the final section of the CCNA Cybersecurity Blueprint. This domain focuses on security policies and procedures, and it makes up 15% of the exam. While it's not the most technical section, it's incredibly important, because this is where strategy, governance, and day-to-day operations come together. This domain is sometimes overlooked because it's less technical than network analysis or endpoint detection. But the reality is, security tools are only as effective as the policies and procedures behind them. If your incident response process is flawed, your patching is inconsistent, or your data handling policies aren't clear, those gaps become opportunities for attackers. Let's start with management concepts. The blueprint mentions several, including asset management, configuration management, mobile device management, patch management, and vulnerability management. You'll need to understand what each one of these does. For example, asset management is about knowing what you have because you can't protect what you don't know exists. Configuration management ensures devices are set up correctly and consistently. Mobile device management controls things like remote access and app permissions on phones and tablets. Patch management and vulnerability management go hand in hand, helping you fix weaknesses before they are exploited. Expect to see questions that test your ability to identify which management concept applies to a given scenario. This domain also brings in guidance from NIST SP800-61, which outlines the incident response process. The 4 key phases are preparation, detection and analysis, containment, eradication and recovery, and post-incident analysis. You'll want to understand the purpose of each phase. For example, preparation includes building your team, defining roles, and creating runbooks. Detection and analysis is where you identify that something's wrong and begin investigating. Containment, eradication, and recovery involves stopping the threat, removing it from your systems, and getting things back online safely. And post-incident analysis is where you reflect, document lessons learned, and improve your processes. These steps will show up on the exam and are must-know for working in any SOC environment. You'll also be expected to map stakeholders to different points in the response cycle. Think about who needs to be involved during each phase. Security analysts during detection, system admins during containment and recovery, and leadership or legal teams during post-incident reviews. Questions may reference CMMC or other compliance models alongside NIST. You don't need to memorize every detail, but you should know the basic roles and responsibilities. Another related NIST document, SP800-86, introduces forensic principles like evidence collection order, data integrity, data preservation, and volatile data collection. Volatile data refers to information that disappears when a system is shut down, like RAM, active connections, or running processes. The idea is to collect that data first because it's the easiest to lose. You'll want to be familiar with the order of collection and how to ensure data hasn't been altered during handling. Then we get into profiling, specifically network profiling and server profiling. For network profiling, you'll be asked to identify elements like total throughput, session duration, ports used, and critical asset address space. With server profiling, it's things like listening ports, logged in users, running processes, tasks, and installed applications. These help you establish a baseline, so when something deviates, like an unknown user logged in or a new port suddenly opens, you can respond quickly. You'll also want to understand how to identify protected data types. This includes PII, which stands for Personally Identifiable Information, PHI, which stands for Protected Health Information, PSI, which is Payment System Information, and Intellectual Property. Different industries are governed by different regulations, and you may be expected to recognize which data types require which level of protection. One thing that often catches people off guard is intrusion classification models, like the cyber kill chain and the diamond model of intrusion. The kill chain breaks an attack down into phases: reconnaissance, weaponization, delivery, exploitation, installation, command and control, and actions on objectives. The diamond model focuses on relationships between 4 core features: the adversary, the infrastructure, the victim, and the capability. You won't be tested on creating these models, but you should be able to recognize how an event might be categorized within them. Finally, this domain wraps with SOC metrics, which help measure how effective a security team responds to incidents. You should know key metrics like time to detect, time to contain, time to respond, and time to control. These are indicators of operational efficiency. For example, if it takes your team 5 hours to detect a breach but only 10 minutes to contain it, that points to detection being the area that needs work. Here's a quick study tip. Try writing out the 4 phases of NIST incident response on a sheet of paper, then jot down what happens in each phase and who's involved. It's a simple exercise, but it'll help solidify the workflow in your mind. To wrap this up, Domain 5 connects everything together: the tools, the logs, the alerts. They all exist in a larger operational framework. Understanding how policies guide actions, how procedures support consistency, and how teams coordinate during incidents is what turns a reactive approach into a proactive one. In the next video, we'll finish up the series with some general exam strategies, study tips, and final words of advice to help you walk into your test center feeling ready. Thanks again for joining me, and I will see you in the final video.